Hey there, Dr. Mark here, and today I'm digging into the science around the best, most accessible exercise out there, walking. By the end of this video, you'll know what the evidence says about walking and the impact it has on weight loss, but also overall health. And we won't stop there. Today I have a special guest who is literally staking his career around walking. He's gonna show you exactly how you can boost your steps and how to work it into a weight loss plan for yourself or your nutrition clients. This is the easiest way to get better results for your nutrition clients. So watch to the end, you're not gonna wanna miss this. Let's dive in. A recent study showed that 8,600 steps per day actually prevented weight gain in adults. That's right, walking, it prevents weight gain. For anyone that is working with weight loss clients, this is a huge deal. And of course, for weight loss to happen, you need to control energy on either side of the equation, energy in and energy out. But this finding is interesting. It kind of reminds me of some of those old figures where if you cut out one soda per day, someone could lose 50 pounds per year or something. Things don't really work like that in the real world, where we think about energy in and energy out in isolation. But the finding is interesting. Is there actually a level of steps that someone could take that would outweigh any dietary choices? That is what emerging evidence is suggesting. Now, I have long said that exercise is the absolute best thing you can do for your overall health. There's no debate around that. But, and this is a big but, it is not a fat loss prescription, because the calories you burn during exercise are quickly erased by poor dietary choices. And you can't outwork a bad diet. Or can you? Can you actually walk away the weight? Well, for starters, walking really is an exercise. It's something that we call non-exercise activity thermogenesis, or NEAT, or sometimes spontaneous physical activity. And it consists of all the energy that we burn that isn't included in exercise or sleeping. And it's quite variable from person to person. NEAT can explain why some people have an easier time losing weight, regardless of what happens with their diet, and can be predictive of their success keeping the weight off. And if some people are only taking 3,000 to 5,000 steps per day, this is an area that can be addressed to really improve weight loss results. And today I have a special guest, Guedo, who is a champion of this walking movement. He's even named himself the more.king on social media. Let's hear what he has to say about walking and steps and the impact it's had on his nutrition coaching.
And so I was like, well, what actually works? And like, it seems really simple, but it's like, well, the physical activity, obviously, but in terms of repeatability, like NEAT ends up being the winner there. And I just couldn't, it's almost like I couldn't believe it, because it's 10,000 steps has kind of been the moniker for however long, and it's like a made up marketing ploy. But in some regards, it ends up being the thing that I made fun of the most. And it's also the thing that probably works the best in terms of strategies that are food independent, just because I found food wasn't really, not that it wasn't working, it just people weren't maintaining that once they were off their diet or off the coaching plan.
A nutrition coach using walking and steps as a way to push progress and not just food? Here's why we need to listen to this. Walking, it seems really simple, and it is, but don't let the simplicity fool you. Walking can be really effective. For starters, walking is something that nearly everyone can do. It's really accessible. And although it doesn't burn a ton of calories, it does burn some energy and can increase metabolism even when you're done walking. It has also been shown to be effective in reducing fat around your waistline and improving cardiovascular health. But how many steps should people be taking to lose weight? Here's what the research says, but also what the best coaches in the world are telling their clients to lose weight.
Like, it's this health outcomes, but none of them actually specifically looked at weight loss or obesity, right? It was just general all-cause mortality. It's like, you're not gonna die, and I think they looked at heart disease, like the leading cause. So it was like on par, 8,000 steps was on par for like not dying from quitting smoking and losing weight. But it's like they didn't marry the two. And then the new one actually it broke it down into what causes there were, and obesity was actually one of them. For everything from like mental health to like gut issues to heart disease, it was like, that 8,000 step mark is like, those things start to drop massively, and then it's kind of like a small linear, like dose dependent response, but it was like diminishing returns. Where with obesity, 8,000 kind of got them to the point where it was like average weight loss, and then it teetered off until about 11,000. And this study had like 250,000 participants. So it was kind of like a bigger meta-analysis breaking it down. But it's kind of what I observationally seen in, I guess, nutrition coaching is like, you get steps up. They'll lose a little bit of weight because 8,000 is good for health, and they'll lose a little bit, but then nothing happens after that. And then it's like, well, we'll just lower food and lower food and lower food. What I found was that the people, and this was before the study even came out, it's like we start getting to 12, 15, 17,000, like obviously time dependent, context dependent, life dependent, but they were losing weight without changing food, and they were crushing it. And this study actually showed that the diminishing returns was only between 8 and like 11,000 steps. And then it was like, it started going as a dose dependent without really any diminishing returns up until like, it was like crazy. But that's what I've seen observationally. And so anyways, what ended up happening was everyone got hot and heavy over that study about the all-cause mortality. It was like 8,000 is like good. It's the minimum, like don't worry about the rest of it. And I was like, I don't think that's good enough for the weight loss aspect of it. And again, I'm in the fitness space, so fitness people, we're using it for fitness outcomes and health outcomes. But in terms of obesity and actually like solving the issue of weight loss and weight loss maintenance, more is actually better. And that was shown with the weight loss maintainer study, where it was like, it wasn't actually food intake, it was actually physical activity that predicted weight loss maintainers, which again kind of echoes the walking dose dependent nature after the 11,000 mark. And again, my argument was just people aren't doing enough, and 8,000 is really good, like really, really, really good. But if you're marrying a weight loss goal or a weight loss maintenance goal, it's not good enough.
So getting more steps in can be a game changer for weight loss, but also maintaining that weight loss. Here's how Dean prescribes steps in his nutrition coaching.
Baseline testing for like where they're at, and it's usually the same. It's usually 3,000 to 5,000 steps. Like, and that kind of echoed with the averages over North American numbers. Like, that's not mind blowing. But then just saying, hey, if you just try to get more, here's all the reasons why it's good. Here's my high flux presentation, whatever. Like, you don't have to do this, but like if you try, what do you get to? And then usually it ends up being around 8,000 to 9,000, because most people can sneak in a bit. And then I like to use that as the new baseline, and then start pulling away or adding stuff. So I just don't like to lower macros until we get the baseline of, hey, I'm trying to get my need up, then going after.
I love it. No need to cut calories or food. You can attack weight loss from both sides of this equation with something simple like walking. Simple and effective. But I do want to get more specific here, so I asked Dean the following questions. What were his favorite strategies to get his clients to walk more, especially those clients living in colder climates? Here's what he said to get the steps up.
You start breaking it down to all the stuff Oprah says. It's like, take the stairs, park further away. Again, another one would be like just normal daily chores, but just making them more efficient. Like, instead of putting all the stuff or taking all the groceries into one trip, do it in 4. Those sorts of things end up adding up really fast. Or like if you have kids, like instead of whatever, sitting on the couch watching them play with their toys, get up and chase them around or do stuff like that. That stuff adds up really fast. And then in terms of like best bang for your buck, in terms of what I think is causing inactivity a lot of times, is just our work environments. And I think PN released like, I don't know what the infographic was, but it was like as tech went up and certain jobs kind of came up, activity started going down. And it was like, it was pretty, not necessarily eye-opening. It's like, oh yeah, obviously. But it is just sitting in work environments as we're doing right now. And then kind of figuring out how do we kill 2 birds with 1 stone. And that's where the walking treadmill stuff comes in. You can pick up about 6,000 steps an hour. You work, whatever, 8 hours a day. Even if you just walk 2 of those, you're at 12,000 steps. Arguably, they may not be as good as walking outside if you kind of look at the, but in terms of like NEAT and getting more steps, that ends up being the best possible answer like I've thought of at this point. And I didn't even think of it, but it's just like in terms of practicality, everyone that has been able to get a walking treadmill under their desk, game changer, because it's not even, you don't even need that much time invested for like, you do emails for 30 minutes an hour a day.
Right.
There, you picked up 6,000 steps. You already made it past double what you were at prior with, again, no effort mentally, I guess. So that would be the best answer.
Yeah. Well, I think what you're pointing out too is just the awareness around, okay, well, maybe I can't do it all 8 hours, but maybe there's some time I can spend doing it and prioritizing that. And I could probably even be more productive if I'm like, this is when I'm going to respond to emails and do this stuff versus meetings and that type of thing. It's like just being aware of what it could be like, right?
As a coach, if we could make suggestions to get our clients moving more in their daily activities, as well as during their work days, they're going to get better results. But I can hear the excuses already, namely because I've made them myself. It's freezing where I live nearly half of the year, and I'm not just talking cold, I'm talking Mars cold. And I don't have a walking treadmill. What am I supposed to do?
Weirdly, things like grocery stores and malls, like that seems stupid, but like trying to figure out a way to go to the mall, again, you pick up a lot of steps going to malls.
Totally.
and that ends up being like this weird answer, but like that's probably the single best place. Every place has a mall. I remember when I was not in high school, but I just graduated high school. I was working for a contractor, and we would do, I can't remember which sports place it was, but they had the contract for this franchise to build these out, and so we'd be at a lot of malls in Edmonton, and again, all the older adults meet up for coffee and do walking clubs, and like I didn't even know that was a thing. Again, making fun of it, I'm like, this is stupid. 10 years later, I'm like, you got to go to these clubs, but like that's a thing. Like anyone who's been to a mall early, they have walking clubs. I think they have them at lunch, and it's usually older adults, but they meet up, they sit at the diner or whatever, get coffee, and they go for walks, and like they probably crush it. And I had a guy message me in Edmonton and was like, yeah, like I lost 100 pounds during COVID, and all I did was like, he had a timer, and I went to West Edmonton Mall and I just walked every day. Yeah, like, I didn't change anything about my diet.
As a nutrition coach, you need to master the energy balance equation. Focusing on how many calories in through what we eat has long been the approach of the nutrition coach, and it has been effective. But with emerging evidence in the role steps play in this process, in both weight loss and also long-term weight maintenance, now is the time we give the other side of the equation a bit more attention. It may be the difference maker for your clients, but also your nutrition coaching business. I'd like to thank Dean for sharing his knowledge and expertise. Now time to get the steps up. Now, as great as all those tips are, if you're really serious about starting a nutrition coaching business, the next thing I'll have you do is check out this video I've linked right here. Today, we went over strategies to get clients to take more steps, now learn how to get more out of their nutrition. So make sure to check it out now, and I'll see you in the next video.